I see efforts made to mislead the country. I give you 3 examples. Example 1, people are saying Chinese are building villages on the border. Where is the village built? It is built in a place called Longju, which the Chinese attacked and occupied in 1959. There's a statement of Nehru. So if you look at the Google map, please look at that village and triangulate it with what Nehru said to the parliament in 1959. Then Rahul Gandhi and the Congress talk about a bridge in Pangong Tso in Ladakh. This bridge is being built at a place where the Chinese came in 1958 and then retook in 1962. Recently, I just saw Congress spokesman saying, the Chinese have built a road in Shaksgam Valley and this has great concerns for Siachen. Possibly it has concerns for Siachen. When was Shaksgam Valley occupied by whom? Shaksgam Valley was allowed by Nehru to be part of Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and Pakistanis handed it over to China in 1963. So the Congress party is holding Modi responsible for Nehru's actions in 1949 and for Bhutto's actions in 1963. But apparently they have no culpability. So I think we need to get the China issue right. Yes, there is a challenge from China. Yes, China has violated agreements and sent large number of troops to the border. But I think country should take pride in the fact, despite the COVID, we counter-deployed, we have sent troops in record numbers to the border. Those troops today at great heights, in great cold, in very tough conditions are holding their own. Country should be supporting the military. Country should not be running down the military. So, when I hear Rahul Gandhi say, "Hamare jawanon ki pitai hui in Yangtze, in Arunachal Pradesh," when actually we push back the Chinese. So you talk of pitai of your jawans. You have Revant Reddy questioning Balakot mein pata nahi hua, nahi hua. This running down your people, your system, your forces, this is a very, very sad thing. And I think a lot of the country is very unhappy about it. Maybe stronger words than that. Qatar. Look, with Qatar, it was, what is in their mind, I don't know, but I think we had a problem. We worked very diplomatically and tactfully. And by the way, while we were working with it, guess who was trying to make our life difficult through this whole period? So there were people whose intention of raising it in public and in parliament was not because they had any concern for the people who were detained. They were trying to make negotiations and discussions as complicated as possible. So my answer is thank you very much. I will do my diplomacy. You can keep doing your talking. I think the country's Prime Minister addresses the people through a variety of means. Through a variety of means, and I leave it to his good judgment when, where, how, and with whom he should interact.
Please.
Hello. Good morning, sir. This is Yash Jain from CNBC TV 18. I'm here, sir. Just wanted to ask 2 questions, sir. The first one was, there's a historic deal which is expected to be signed today with respect to taking over the management of Chabahar port. In your understanding, how does it help India in sort of making it independent with respect to port transit against, of course, something that China has, something that Pakistan has in terms of their ports? How historic would this be for the next 10 years in terms of port capability? Second question is on India-UK FTA talks as well. Of course, with the election starting, that has been put on hold. How confident are you that you'll be able to sort of have a conclusion on that as soon as the elections end and the talks start?
On the Chabahar agreement, my understanding is my cabinet colleague Sarbananda Sonowal ji is today going to Iran, and it is expected that we would see the long-term agreement between India and Iran on Chabahar. We've been running it on the basis of ad hoc arrangements. This is not because of any problem on the Indian side. The issue was really there was a lot of problems as to exactly who the combination of partners would be in Iran. So we believe that as and when a long-term arrangement is concluded, it will clear the pathway for bigger investments to be made in the port. Right now, the port has not grown because actually we didn't, if you don't have a long-term agreement, it's very difficult to invest in a port. So the very clear expectation is that the Chabahar port, at least that part of the Chabahar port that we are involved in, that will definitely see more investments. It will see more connectivity linkages coming out of that port. And we believe today that connectivity is a very big issue in that part. International North-South Transport Corridor, which we are doing with Iran, Russia. Chabahar will connect us to that, also to Central Asia. We have a separate corridor, the IMEC corridor through Saudi Arabia. So I think I would await confirmation of the agreement. Nothing is done till it's done. But definitely it's heading in a good direction. Your second question on the FTA, an FTA with Europe, European Union is the most difficult FTA, most complex FTA to do because there are a lot of non-trade issues involved in that FTA. So we are confident that we will certainly on our side try to take it forward. But typically, I'd be honest because again, what had happened was we lost a lot of time in between because of changes of positions. I mean, what has happened has happened. So we are definitely very serious about pushing it. My expectation is going into the next term, if all goes well with us, it would definitely be one of our important trade priorities. And I must say, since we are talking trade, if there is one person who's really made a huge difference when it comes to commerce and trade, it is my colleague, the Commerce and Industry Minister, who's a candidate from Mumbai. I think his personal role in taking forward the Australia agreement, the UAE agreement, the EFTA agreement, the progress we have made in UK with the EU, with the Gulf, I think he's been really absolutely dynamic and creative in this. So in fairness, I should appreciate it today.
Sir, hi, this is
Namaskar,
Palak Shah from Business Standard. Sir, I want to take your views on why the United States, which is a friend of India, talks like an enemy when it comes to the issue of Khalistani terrorism in the country. And second, when do you see Balochistan getting separated from Pakistan, and what role does India have to play?
No, I'm not sure I would agree with the way you have put the question. Because when it comes to giving space to Khalistani supporters, I think you may be confusing the United States with another country in the same continent, a little bit to the north. The United States, yes, it's not like we don't have issues with the United States. We have, because many of these countries, to varying degrees, they give latitude in name of freedom of speech. We have an issue with it because we don't think freedom of speech should extend to advocating and supporting separatism, terrorism, extremism, violence, etc. And we often ask these countries saying, look, if you were at the receiving end of such views, of such freedoms and expressions of such freedoms, we've seen actually what your attitude is. So we have issues with the United States. I'm not, I'm not saying that we don't, but I wouldn't go as far as, the way you have, the words you have used and the manner in which you have described. Regarding the future of Pakistan, look, I think it is very clear that this is a country whose past actions over many, many decades today have come back to actually haunt that country in different ways, economically, politically, terrorism. So pretty much everything which you see today as a problem in Pakistan is actually a consequence of their own policies, which have rebounded on them. So I think we'll have to wait and see. I mean, you reap what you sow at the end of the day. So we'll have to wait and see.
India has actually appeared very weak when it comes to Germany and getting our Beti Arena.
नमस्कार
Sorry,
सर,
you have
मैं
had your
शुभम
turn.
पाठक CNBC आवाज से. सर, if you look at South Asian economies, including China, सभी turmoil situation में हैं, but we Indians are shining like a star. How you think if a stable government comes to power, how well are we placed to grab this opportunity? One, and as a diplomat and as a foreign minister of India, you have traveled the globe not once or twice, but several times. What all changes have you noticed in the foreign investors as far as India is concerned?
I have every confidence that we will not only have a strong and stable government, but we'll have a government with a stronger majority, and therefore with a greater ability to take decisions which will take this country forward. Because countries don't go forward on autopilot. You need a leader, you need a vision, you need a policy, and you need the legislative backing. So our message in this election is very clear. The message is, if you want to see your country do well, please strengthen the hands of Prime Minister Modi. Now, that message is recognized throughout the world. That what does an investor want? If today you tell an investor, guys, we are going to survey your investment also, and who knows, maybe we'll take your investment and give it to somebody else. So what an investor wants easier to do business. Investor wants a talent pool which is better skilled, better educated. Investor wants better infrastructure, the kind of progress that we've seen in 10 years, but at a higher level. So if you look at each of this, how do you improve the HR quality? How do you create business and employment opportunities? How do you improve the infrastructure? How do you keep responsible policies? During COVID, when I look at some of the advice that we got from so-called eminent economists, I thank God that, that we actually read them for what they were. That we followed our own, gut instincts, and actually to maintain the fiscal deficit discipline today. Don't think 7% growth and an inflation level which is as low as it is today came automatically. It came because people made the right judgments at the right time under stress against the advice of many people. So, as I said, we have many choices in this election. Reformist, sensible, growth-oriented, inclusive policy is on one side. Return to pre-1992 is on the other side. And I think foreign investors also, nobody wants us to return to pre-1992.
Yes.
Hello, sir. This is Sucheta Anchalia from Money Control. The first phase of the government was about policy reforms and corporate governance repairing. The second phase was about growth phase where capex and infrastructure spending was increased. What would be the big headline for Modi 3.0 from a capital market standpoint?
One, you'll have to wait and see in the first 100 days, and the budget which will come in that period. But the fact is, in a way, a certain base has been created. That base today allows us really to think much more ambitiously and boldly for the country. We are really, if one looks today at the world, I can tell you, I'm giving you now in a way a foreign minister's perspective. Look, the world is looking for more sources of production in order to de-risk the global economy. The world doesn't want a single geography of production. The world is looking for more supply chains. The world is looking for more countries where something as critical as chips and semiconductors can be made, because they actually pretty much control the rest of global production in every other sphere. And for that you need the right kind of local talent other than the willingness to invest. So I definitely see I see public investments continuing. I see greater enthusiasm for private investment. I think a lot of people are looking after June 4. They will see those numbers, and I think that will strengthen the resolve to invest in this economy. I definitely see much more foreign investment coming in. So right now everybody is like, okay, let June 4th happen and then I'm going to take the call. I think that's the kind of situation where we are in right now.
So good morning, Prashant from the PTI. So there are three questions. First related to political. Mr. Kejriwal has said that he has given his guarantee that if he comes to power, or the India bloc comes to power, they'll take back the China. So they'll take back the land from China.
He's not going to come to power. So what's that guarantee? Why? Can you ask a more serious question?
Sir, second pertaining to the Khalistan issue, Canada has made 4th arrest. Anything specific regarding that? Have they conveyed it to India about this, sir? And third is pertaining to the nuclear sector. So in the last 10 years, we saw the Modi government giving go ahead to 10 nuclear reactors, but we did not see anything on the foreign nuclears, on the foreign players' part, be it Mithivardi, Kovada, anything specific pertaining to that, sir?
On the question about what happened in Canada, I also read that another arrest has been made. If that person is an Indian national, then usually by consular practice, you inform the government or the embassy of the country of origin. But beyond that, look, we have long maintained that if anything, any event in Canada, any violence in Canada has any evidence or information which is relevant to be investigated in India, we are open to investigating it. But to date, we have never received anything which is specific and worthy of being pursued by our investigative agencies, and I'm not aware anything has changed in the last few days in that regard. On the nuclear, look, what had happened was there were, I think the manner in which the liability legislation was framed, I think required a lot of interactions with foreign suppliers to see how their concerns in that could be addressed. That has taken some time, and we'll have to, that applies to some countries. In regard to some other countries where the liability issue is better understood, or they don't have the same degree of concerns because the nature of the structure of their industry is very different, I think we have discussions underway, as you know, where Kudankulam has progressed. We are actually looking at additional sites for Russian reactors. With regard to the French, we have ongoing discussions with them. A lot of it, a lot of it is like the validation of the technology. Some of it is the cost of the production. The energy scenario itself has been changing. If you look, power costs per unit in India have been coming down. So they have to be competitive with what is the market reality. So I think these are the kinds of issues which are actually under discussion right now.
Mr. Jaishankar, hi, this is Rahul Kabat from the Times Group. You briefly talked about the manufacturing sector, especially Make in India initiative, we being global hub in the as a manufacturing policy across the world. So my question is how growth in manufacturing, especially in India, is likely to provide more resources to your foreign policy toolkit, especially when the entire India is looking for a China plus model?
No, see, let me give you a few examples. Take defense. We have historically been very big importers of defense equipment. Once we started Make in India, what has happened is our own industries have come up. Many of them have actually shown they can compete with the best in the world. And you actually today, I think in the current calendar year, already people are talking of deals done of 25,000 crores likely to go higher. So I give you a very different example, 5G technology. Today we are rolling out 5G at a very massive scale. Now look at 5G, you know, 5G is either done by China or it's done by Europe or it's done by Korea. There's a global market out there in 5G. Now, we have, for example, an understanding with the United States that they would allow our companies to participate in some of what they call rip and replace programs out there. So, I would say one of the, again, I contrast pre-14 and post-14. Post-14, Modi Sarkar believes that we have to grow agriculture, we have to grow manufacturing, we have to grow services. We will not use environmental arguments to kill manufacturing the way the previous government used to do. We have confidence in the business people of India, in the workers of India, in the technologists of India. We do not believe like Raghuram Rajan and Rahul Gandhi that this country is incapable of manufacturing. We do not share that belief. We actually believe in the people of India. And if you do not today manufacture, how will you develop the technology? If you don't develop the technology, are you all happy with India remaining backward forever? I don't think some Indian who's 20-something wants to be at the back of the room. He may want to be. But I don't think that's the national mood in India. I think the national mood in India is we are capable, we will compete, we will develop our own technologies. And you see, wherever we have supported, look at drones today, look at space today. Look at, as I said, COVID. I mean, we came up with our own vaccine. And actually people said, don't use it. And you know who said don't use it? So I put it to you today. When I said today, the choice between the country is strengthen Modi's hands or Modi hatao. But I also say the choice before the country is, are you confident? Are you self-assured? Do you believe in yourself? Or are you want to return to the past, you have no faith in yourself, you have no faith in your people? I think that is also today a choice before the country.
Hi, this is Ryosuke Hanada from Nikkei, the Japanese news agency. And in association with the Make in India initiative, the government has tried to increase the share of the manufacturing sector in GDP to 25%. But I'm sorry to say that still the target has not achieved. And what do you think of the reason? What do you think of what the Indian government should do for this?
You know, increasing manufacturing is not that easy, given the kind of mistakes that were made in the past, or the lack of progress, I would say, in the past. I'll give you an example. If we don't have the infrastructure, you know, how would you expect competitive manufacturing to come in a country which doesn't have a high quality infrastructure? So it's not a question of how do I increase manufacturing. I have to, change the infrastructure. Then look at the human resources. If we have not invested in schools and colleges and skilling, if you have not pushed that kind of innovation and startup culture, how do you get the HR quality to actually, support the manufacturing? So, if you have banks in the kind of shape in which they were for the first 15 years of this century, how do you expect the credit flows? So, if you make the cost of capital difficult, you made the cost of logistics difficult, you made the quality of human resources poor, obviously manufacturing is going to have a problem. Now, it has taken us 10 years, we have worked very hard at it. I think you are seeing the results of that. But that is why we need more terms to take that manufacturing number up, and we are very confident we will do that.
allow me ask you
Last two question. Last two
yeah.
question. One minute.
Tamil from Reuters breaking news. India has recently amended its tax treaty with Mauritius to introduce a principal purpose test, but it's yet to be notified domestically. Could you give us some sense of what shape that could take and what are the benefits you see accruing from this?
No, I wouldn't have a granular sense of it. I think, this is something which my colleagues across the street in the finance ministry would be handling. I don't want to mislead you with something which I don't have a grip on.
Last question.
Hello, sir. I'm Chirantana from Midday. I have 3 questions, short ones. Do you think we'll get a permanent seat at UNSC? Second, how do we plan to deal with China when it's constantly occupying land in Ladakh? And what could be Qatar's larger interest? The way it has helped us, it agreed to free our Navy officials. What do you think, what could be its larger interest?
UNSC, I think today the move, the direction of the world, the sense in the world is much more in favor of reforming the UN and in favor of supporting India's candidature. So if you ask me, like say right now I'm looking at the elections and I can see the mood is very much in favor of Modi ji and BJP. So like this globally, I can tell you the mood is shifting towards India, and we are hopeful that the negotiations have become a little bit more serious than they were in the past. So we'll have to take that forward. Regarding your China question, Indian land was taken by China between 1958 and 1962. Some of it was before 58 also. So when you keep saying land taken by China, please understand this land was lost in 1962. I see efforts made to mislead the country. I give you 3 examples. Example 1, people are saying Chinese are building villages on the border. Where is the village built? It is built in a place called Longju, which the Chinese attacked and occupied in 1959. There's a statement of Nehru. So if you look at the Google map, please look at that village and triangulate it with what Nehru said to the parliament in 1959. Then Rahul Gandhi and the Congress talk about a bridge in Pangong Tso in Ladakh. This bridge is being built at a place where the Chinese came in 1958 and then retook in 1962. Recently, I just saw Congress spokesman saying, the Chinese have built a road in Shaksgam Valley and this has great concerns for Siachen. Possibly it has concerns for Siachen. When was Shaksgam Valley occupied by whom? Shaksgam Valley was allowed by Nehru to be part of Pakistan occupied Kashmir, and Pakistanis handed it over to China in 1963. So the Congress party is holding Modi responsible for Nehru's actions in 1949 and for Bhutto's actions in 1963. But apparently they have no culpability. So I think we need to get the China issue right. Yes, there is a challenge from China. Yes, China has violated agreements and sent large number of troops to the border. But I think country should take pride in the fact, despite the COVID, we counter-deployed, we have sent troops in record numbers to the border. Those troops today at great heights in great cold, in very tough conditions, are holding their own. Country should be supporting the military. Country should not be running down the military. So, when I hear a Rahul Gandhi say, "Hamare jawanon ki pitai hui in Yangtze, in Arunachal Pradesh," when actually we push back the Chinese. So you talk of pitai of your jawans. You have Revant Reddy questioning Balakot mein pata nahi hua, nahi hua. This running down your people, your system, your forces, this is a very, very sad thing. And I think a lot of the country is very unhappy about it. Maybe stronger words than that. Qatar. Look, with Qatar, it was, what is in their mind, I don't know. But I think we had a problem. We worked very diplomatically and tactfully. And by the way, while we were working with it, guess who was trying to make our life difficult through this whole period? So there were people whose intention of raising it in public and in parliament was not because they had any concern for the people who were detained. They were trying to make negotiations and discussions as complicated as possible. So my answer is thank you very much. I will do my diplomacy. You can keep doing your talking.
Now only last.
Yeah. Hi, sir. I'm Khushbu Tiwari from Business Standard. Two questions from my side. First is, how are we planning to push for internationalization of rupee, and which other jurisdictions are we planning to take it ahead with? There are several we have, it's been in talks with, but what is the plan for the government? And if you come to power, how will you push for it? The second is that we see the market charts behind you, and India VIX is one of it, which values the volatility in the market. And the market participants we have seen how the markets have corrected over the last week over concerns of the number of seats that a single majority party, whether will be there or not. How do you plan to give the confidence on that? Both the questions.
We are obviously pushing as much for rate settlement in our currency as possible. I don't have the exact number of countries with whom we have this understanding, but it is already in double digits. And definitely, because we see there is today in many countries an acute shortage of hard currency. They want to trade with us, they have the goods, they are willing to buy goods from us, but it's the currency has become an obstacle to implementing their trade designs. So we see today as a way of boosting our exports and contributing to the international economy, that we need to give countries more options, and if we can do settlements in each other's currency or in our currency, depending on what their holdings are, we see that as something very sensible. On market volatility, look, I think it's to me it's very clear where the election is going. The exact number people may have a debate. In democracy, they should be debating it also. But I am very sure as round after round takes place, markets will be less and less volatile, because the markets will see exactly what those numbers, or will get a sense of where those numbers will end up. And I'm very confident those numbers will end up very, very good for us.
ஏழை குழந்தைகளின் அடிப்படை கல்விக்காக உதவ single teacher schools.org இணையதளத்தை தொடர்பு கொள்ளுங்கள்.